Katie and Zach here, back, this time with Rhett Allain. Just to start off, I think the first question is, Rhett, who are you and why are you here?
I am a physics professor at Southeastern Louisiana University and a blogger for Wired Science blogs. Physics is the blog. I'm here due to the gracious invitation of the physics graduate students. I came and gave a seminar, and here I am visiting your lovely town.
Why physics? How did you get interested in physics originally?
That's a good question. I think, so I remember in high school, I really liked science a lot. But, biology, I'm not very good at memorizing stuff. And so that cuts out biology. Because there's a lot, biology doesn't have to be about memorization, but it turns out that a lot of that is, and that's what you see in high school. And then chemistry is kind of cool because you can blow stuff up. But again, to me, chemistry was, look, here's a rule, here's another rule, here's a rule. And here are all the exceptions to the rules. And I didn't really like that. Whereas in physics, it's like two rules, and you can derive all these other things based on these really fundamental things. And so, you don't have to memorize as much stuff, and you can kind of derive everything and see where it comes from. You don't have to take on faith that this rule works for everything but these two things.
I've definitely noticed that going through my physics education, at some point you do start to trust people too much, your professors and the books, and you forget to ask more basic questions about why things happen. And it seems like in teaching it comes up more. And
yeah, because people ask you.
Do you have a basic example in mind of something that kind of struck home for you, if this was something you kind of took for granted and didn't think more deeply about, and someone asked you a question?
I think that even the kinematic equations, where do they come from? Oh, sure, you can derive them from integrating in calculus. You do that, but you don't have to. You don't have to do that, right? You don't have to derive those with calculus. They're just basically the definition of velocity and acceleration. And in undergraduate, you just say, we're going to use these equations. The kinematic equations, they're written down, they're true.
Passed down
Flashing
on
lights.
tablets of stone.
So, but once you try to explain why they are, then you start to see there is more to it, and it's not just, that's the kinematic equations are the answer, right? So what's the question? And all too often we just focus on that result.
Do you see any problems with the link between the general public's perception of physics and physicists?
Yeah. So that's the number one gut reaction of people when you say physics. Math. It's a lot of math, and I can't do it. But physics isn't just math, or it'd be called math. Right. So I think that's the biggest hurdle that we needed to overcome. I think the gateway drug to physics is actually maybe astronomy, because everyone loves astronomy, right? And it's physics.
I could never do enough integrals, so it worked for me. I suppose that was okay.
Speaking of integrals,
yes.
What is your favorite integral?
I like e to the x, right? That's pretty cool.
Stays the same.
Yeah, it stays the same, and the e is such a cool number, just like pi. It doesn't get. I think e slips under the radar because you say e and they're like, what? Mm-hmm. But everyone knows what pi is. But e is just as cool, and e shows up in just as many cool places as pi. But I think even Pi Day, March 14th, trivializes the most important aspect of pi, and then you can't write it down.
Right.
And it's like just showing this part of me, right?
You could just define that moment in the day, which is like that many hours and seconds and milliseconds afterwards.
It's just for an instant.
It is, and you could celebrate. You couldn't really celebrate that instant, but you could have all of the build up towards that time, and then a party afterwards. She has a favorite integral. She's the one who's
I do have a favorite integral. It's a Limerick integral.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, it's integral z squared dz from 1 to the cubed root of 3 times the cosine of 3 pi over 9 equals log of the cubed root of e. I first learned about it in this wonderful book I have called The Joy of Pi.
What about numerical integrations? Do you like those?
That's fun stuff too.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, a little bit of
I like the old story of how the old numerical integrations where they printed on thick paper and cut out the curve and find the mass of the paper and the other piece, and it's not funny.
That's awesome. Now we're going to play a little game of physics word association.
Are there points? Prizes?
We can keep track of points.
Cash prizes?
I will assign points arbitrarily.
So I will say words that are related to physics in some way, and you just say the first word that comes into your head. Newtonian gravity.
Angry Birds. Which is not Newtonian gravity.
Maxwell.
Equations? That's the right answer, right?
That is the right answer. Euler.
Method.
Uh,
The Euler method.
Nice. Thermodynamics.
Chemistry. Now, if you had said statistical mechanics, and then that would be physics. So,
Pascal.
basic.
Nice.
Got you there, huh?
That's a good one. I did not see that one coming.
Rhett, we'd like to thank you for hanging out with us today. It's been fun.
I've had a great time. I had a great time yesterday, too. I really enjoyed coming to visit, so thanks a lot.